Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Intel Extreme Masters Singapore. I'm Ifje Shoksupurtra, coming to you live here from the main stage in Singapore for day 2 of our 4-day esports extravaganza. And today we're going to be starting off here on the main stage with the final of the amateur tournament for League of Legends. It's going to be a battle between Hong Kong's finest, Hong Kong Attitude, versus the Cyber Arena Games Legends. And of course, that will be followed up by the first quarterfinal of our pro tournament today between the Singapore Sentinels, the home crowd favorite, and the Taipei Snipers. So we're going to be starting off with our first best of 3 here today. And we're going to do that with our awesome commentators, EGAD and Rapid.
Thank you so much, Shocks, and do want to welcome everybody to the Intel Extreme Masters Singapore. If you missed yesterday, then oh my goodness, we saw an incredible comeback involving the team Detonation, the Japanese team, coming in, and it was a great best of 3 that went all 3 games, and ultimately it was Cyber Games Arena making it here to the grand finals. They're going to be taking on Hong Kong Attitude. If you guys are a little bit unfamiliar with that team, we'll do a little bit of an intro when we get into the game, but it's going to be the grand finals of the amateur tournament coming up here on Intel Extreme Masters Singapore to start out the day.
Yeah, and both these teams had really strong performances. I want to highlight Hong Kong Attitude. Yesterday, just a dominating 2-0. These teams have played in the GPL. They have shown strong performances against pro teams that are even here today and competing. Right. So I expect really great things out of this match. These two teams are going to be so well pit against each other. They're 1-1 currently in other events online. So we'll see if either team can go 2-1 against each other.
Yeah, so let's just see these guys going up against each other again. And like you said, they've actually had an incredible GPL season. If you guys are unfamiliar with the Garena Pro League, it's kind of like LCS for Singapore, or not for Singapore, but for the Southeast Asian region. And the Hong Kong Attitude has actually taken out guys like SGS, like Taipei Assassins, both teams that you'll actually be seeing playing later on in the tournament as well. So there's a lot on the line here. It's going to be the amateur tournament grand finals coming up next. Just working on getting all the players back into the game. But yeah, I'm actually pretty excited. It's good to be here in Singapore. I had like a 28-hour flight over here, but made it together, and now we're reunited successfully. So
it feels so good. You know,
it does.
It's a miracle that we all made it here safely and on time. But still,
it's an esports miracle.
It's an esports miracle. It's almost like a Christmas miracle around that time. But
basically,
some of the players we need to watch out for gotta be Red. Red in the top lane is a monster. We saw his Renekton get banned out in one of the games. He just went over the Jax and just started trampling through everybody. And if you let Renekton through the bans, he will lock that one instantly and take it against anybody. 2v1 potentially could come out from him.
Right.
And his mechanics, he 2v1'd up top, I forget which game it was, maybe the second game they played yesterday. And he just knows that champion inside and out and came out ahead, picked up the 1 kill at least before he died. And just, I'm excited to see what they want to pick.
Yeah, Red actually picked Renekton into a Shyvana matchup, which is one of the quote-unquote rougher matchups. I'm not sure there's anything too difficult for Renekton right now, and especially in the hands of Red. It's going to be awesome to see him taking on Hong Kong Attitude, not just in the 1v1 top lane matchup, because Hong Kong Attitude have been one of the teams, and keep in mind we haven't seen them a lot here at Intel Extreme Masters Singapore, but the 2v1 matchup as well, like you talked about, something he actually excelled in, able to pick up kills in 2v1s, which really shouldn't necessarily be possible. So we'll have to see that, but also a couple of other things to keep in mind. Peacemite is actually the coach of the team who will be playing, actually kind of left to be coach and now is coming back, so definitely someone to keep an eye on as well. And the other thing to note is that Pasa, their mid laner, at least in his games yesterday, I don't know, I haven't really seen somebody play his quite style. It's not very roam heavy. It's more just like, hey, I'm going to crush my lane. And to be honest, we've seen a lot of that out of a lot of the Singaporean teams here. They just sit a guy in a lane and then they just have him push it out all game
AP
long.
Ezreal too, you know?
Exactly. AP Ezreal out there too. We'll have to see if Pasa brings that out again. Makes the impossible possible.
You know, if he can do it, anybody can do it. But they have unorthodox comps coming out from both sides as well. We saw CGA try to whip out the Orianna and then lane swap it with a Fiddlesticks mid, and it didn't work out from there. They ended up losing that game, unfortunately. Then they went for a standard AD carry comp and won the last 2. So we'll see what they can do with that one. But Hong Kong Attitude, they're not too crazy with their comps. The AP Ezreal threw us for a loop there. He was hitting a ton of damage, went for the Lich Bane and then Muramana. It was just so much damage coming from those Mystic shots, and then he built a needlessly large rod, went for a death cap, and it was just something to see. And then True Shot Barrage blind sniping out one of the support kills was something to highlight, and I'm just excited. I can't wait for these games.
Yeah, I'm really expecting a lot from Hong Kong Attitude. They're currently second place in Group B of the GPL Winter Standings, so they've actually been having an incredible season. I believe they're second only to the Taipei Assassins, who had a little bit of a rough patch in the previous GPL season coming out of the Season 2 championships, or Season 3, but in the winter season now, they're right back on top, along with the Taipei Snipers, who you'll actually see playing a little bit later on. I believe they're playing up against the Singapore Sentinels in the first pro best of 3 of the day. And while the second pro best of 3 should be played off stream, tomorrow we'll be having the semifinals featuring CJ Frost and IG, both of whom are actually here. And I think I might be able to see them over there a little bit, but
scouting them out.
It's just nice to see everybody in the house. There's so much elo in the room. My body just, I can't handle it anymore.
I'm gonna go back home and go play games and be like, wow, I'm not as good as these people.
Yeah,
I'm gonna feel really bad.
when you walk up to Mad Life and you're like, hey, I'm a Diamond North American support player.
How do you do this? Please? Oh, actually, you know what? Why don't we take a quick look at the brackets to show you how the players got here. So we'll have that come up for you guys, and just here we go. You see Detonation FM was one of Rapid's favorite teams, getting knocked out there by CJA Legends and Hong Kong Attitude 2-0ing KLH Hunters, which was, we thought it was going to be a little bit closer.
Right. I was actually talking to the Detonation team and their translator, Ferlin, yesterday, and it was kind of rough. It was great to watch them play, but without Udapon or Udaproid, one of their kind of all-star AD carries, it was a little bit rough for them when they went up against CGA, but like we said, took it all the way to a 3-game series, but it will be CGA Legends advancing here to the grand finals of the amateur tournament at Intel Extreme Masters Singapore. And for Hong Kong Attitude, it was just a straight cleanup 2-0 victory over the Kuala Lumpur Hunters, and I don't know, it's just, I don't know which scares me more, the ability for Hong Kong Attitude to just smash their opponents, or if it's Cyber Games Arena Legends, the ability to go down a game in a best of 3 and then be able to come back from that, get their momentum back underneath them. We'll have to see if they can take that through today.
Oh, and also, don't forget, if you're on the stream and watching and you're in Singapore, it is free to get in here. So you can come down to the Citec Center, and you will get it for free, and you can go sit in the crowd and watch and cheer on your favorite team. And it looks like we're having a little bit of technical problem.
That's right. And do want to apologize for starting a little bit later. We actually had some non-venue related network issues, but we pushed the games ahead an hour just to give the players the best possible playing conditions. And looks like we're still busy improving their playing conditions right now, so we're going to need a little bit of a break, of a push further for them to get their setup back underway. But I got to say, going into this grand final, it's a great way to start the day here, day 2 of Intel Extreme Masters Singapore, and it's good to be here with you, EGAD, with all of our viewers, whether you're watching online or are here in person at the Cytec Center here in Singapore. It's just great to have everybody out supporting a lot of esports. There's a lot going on today, and this is just the first best of 3 of the day.
Yeah, and the players are having some Charlie chat right now, just talking about all going to Baron with Smite and just having some fun and taking each other out for a nice little lunch. But yeah, just hopefully we can get into this real quick.
Yeah, apparently 228 is now Faker, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be calling him out this game, but I don't know. He showed some pretty impressive play yesterday, but keep in mind, I don't know, Pasa won a competitive game with AP Ezreal. Like that just says something about you.
Yeah, and I kind of want to hope that either of these teams whips out something unorthodox for the first game, because you have the best of 3, but it's a grand finals. You don't want to mess around with that. No one ever wants to mess around in grand finals, but still, unorthodox stuff, people love seeing it. I love seeing it. I love casting it. It's just like you bring out a double AP bot, like in the GPL, Teemo's been played quite a bit. Like, how funny would it be and great would it be to see a Teemo in the bot lane?
Exactly. Singapore Sentinels, they're coming up, playing up against the Zubu Taipei Snipers, I believe, and they've actually been receiving, I believe it's Teemo bans against them, just so they don't play that champion. So there's innovation all across the scene. And I actually received a question in our AMA that we're doing on Reddit about what on earth our opinion is about the Southeast Asian scene. What do we think about SEA esports? And one of the things that I highlighted is that even though it may not work out every single game, SEA teams are just so willing to try random, like really weird strategies. But it does look like we are ready to get the game underway. So ready to go into first game. Game number 1 in a best of 3. here at the
Grand Finals.
Yeah, Grand Finals of the amateur tournament at Intel Extreme Masters Singapore. Teams are ready. We're ready. I hope everybody watching, if you're watching, like grip your glass tightly because the esports Tyrannosauruses are going to be stomping their feet and causing ripples absolutely everywhere. So you got to hold on to yourself. I'm going to hold on to Dan. Not really.
Oh, God. If you're in the crowd, you can hold on to the chairs, too. You know, those are pretty comfortable. You can sit down on those for hours and be perfectly fine. Rapid was sleeping on one of those a little earlier yesterday, so
incredibly comfortable chairs. I'll have you know that. So
only the finest chairs here at the Intel Extreme Masters in Singapore. But everybody's ready. It looks like we're good to go, and we'll get underway. And what can we expect for bans?
Okay, well, something really interesting was that when the Kuala Lumpur Hunters were playing, they triple banned out Pasa.
Yeah.
So a lot of bans probably coming his way. And in fact, going into this game, it was kind of interesting to see the pregame banter. Pasa's like, okay, no mid lane bans, all right? And they're like, okay, cool. So we'll have to see if any of those come out today. But Pasa definitely somebody to watch for HKA. But for Cyber Games Arena Legends, it was actually Joe and Jason that cast their games, and I gotta say, their tenacity, not necessarily resisting CC, but does allow them to come back from the most adverse of situations. We'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and from what we see in the pick and ban phase, already we're seeing Fiddlesticks get taken away from Perhaps, as well as Renekton taken away from Red. We said that earlier on that he was going to be a problem champion for HK to deal with, and Red does play a phenomenal Renekton. Now we see Caitlyn and J4. J4 away from Phi. He was playing that one yesterday and had a really strong showing. Caitlyn from Engod, that was one of the staple champions that he had for kiting, but then Engod played Lucian and got the quadra kill, and that was a big highlight for him. And then the last two bans coming in, Vayne and Nidalee, so no 228 Nidalee and no God Kwai Vayne.
Yeah, so Wind actually going against the treaty that they had originally banning out the mid lane Nidalee. But also, like you mentioned, in the last series that was HKA played, Lucian just, oh my goodness, that guy is a monster. So Engod going godlike in that series, and we'll have to see if he decides to pick up that Lucian once again. Probably a bigger deal was that Renekton ban. Yeah. Nobody's going to let Red play that champion ever again.
Sadly, but Shyvana let through the pick and ban phase, going to be instantly locked in. We're going to see most likely Red take that one to the top lane. He has an interesting playstyle. He'll possibly go for, it looks like, I want to put the climb back on there. He looks like he's going to go for the Spear Visage Blade of the Rune King / Sunfire build. Seems to be the staple build for him. But the side of HKA could go for the Annie Lucian lane, which what we've seen do tons of work for them, or they could look to pick up the jungle early on in that Vi, or just looking for the Lucian and leave possibly an Annie support for the side of CGA.
Yeah, now Annie support, Fiddlesticks support, they're both going to be kind of top-tier support picks here. At least that's what we've seen over the course of yesterday's games. With Fiddlesticks being banned, Annie right up there at the top. The only interesting thing that I've noticed is that usually you'll see both the AD carry and support pick together, unless you want to sort of save that Lucian or Ezreal pick for maybe a mid lane choice, which we have actually seen a fair amount of here at Intel Extreme Masters Singapore. But there's the Annie. It's being hovered over. The only question is, without Annie, without Fiddlesticks, what do you pick if you're Hong Kong Attitude?
They could go for the Lulu support. She seems to be a pretty good answer to Annie. Got a lot of poke coming in with the Glitter Lance, some shields, but still, there's some other options they could throw in there. I'm not going to speculate just yet, but Annie coming in most likely for Sean, and Pace Might? Gonna maybe go for Ezreal for potentially 228 mid or for God Kwai bot.
And for a long time, picking an Ezreal very early on was kind of ambiguous because you could run it as an AD carry or as a mid laner, except for now, the same thing actually goes with Lucian. We've seen, I think the very first mid lane Lucian was Prolly, rest in peace, the mid laner for North American Complexity team, and then almost the next day we saw it in OGN Champions in Korea. So now that Lucian and Ezreal are kind of mid-lane-able champions, we've actually seen a couple of other AD carries move mid. Like yesterday, I believe it was Tristana. Yep. We saw a couple of games mid for Jae-Young. So I don't know. It didn't really work out, but it didn't get smashed either. No. So could see mid-lane AD carries again, but really looking forward to that top lane matchup. It's something that Red has just devastated several games in a row, going up against the Hong Kong Attitude's Wind. Will we see him lock in that Shen pick? There it is. It's locked in and against the Shyvana. How do you think that's going to go?
Well, Shen has kind of teetered off. It's been mostly for Renekton and Shyvana coming in 100% there. But Shen coming in, he has got some sustain. He's got potential for a 2v1 lane if he wants to do that one. But we're seeing the 100% wife steal lane in that bot lane with Thresh Lucian once again. And we'll see if they have the flays to come in, as yesterday's flays were phenomenal against that Tristana, stopping the rocket jump and just a ton of damage coming in as well as the CC. But Elise and Gragas being hovered over here. 2-8 can play that Gragas in the mid lane, and then jungle Elise is something that we see all the time, and very common to come in, repel, cocoon, all the damage she can apply with the percentage damage in her Qs from Spider and human form. But still got a couple seconds coming in for the rest of the picks, and it looks like HK left out their mid pick, so they want to try to counter out CGA.
Yeah, that's right. And I like that decision to leave that mid pick for last, because Pasa has been such a huge part of Hong Kong Attitude's team. Not only winning 1v1 fights, but like we said, his strength has been something that, especially in team fights, once the team groups up for either Dragon or turret objectives, he's either, as Gragas, been able to just ult the entire enemy team away from the turret, and that makes it a lot easier to take. But at least in this matchup, it's going to be a Ziggs locked in. So some extra wave clear added to Ziggs kit in the last patch. We are still on 3.13, so no Targon's braces coming out quite yet. But yeah, he's going to be playing Ziggs, a champion that at least in Season 3 didn't get a whole lot of play at all. But right as the season's about to end, it's finally time for Ziggs. He's going to be going up against 228's Gragas. Yeah,
someone we saw play Ziggs a lot early on was Probably from Complexity back when the MLG days. It was a long time ago. But Gragas, he can try to sustain through. A lot of poke comes in from those bouncing bombs. He's got the mines to zone away and the satchel charge to bounce himself away too, if you want to have some fun with that. But the lane matchups and the jungle matchup is going to be very aggressive. I want to see early ganks. I want to see if there's going to be a lane swap potentially too from either side. Shen Shyvana can do that fairly well, especially with some jungle pressure coming in out of the jungle from the junglers. But still, these team comps looking really good. Early on though, I like Lucian Thresh, but Annie and Ezreal can poke out so hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something definitely to watch out for is that top lane, who hits level 6 first, because Shyvana without Dragon's Descent isn't going to have any tools to be able to stop Shen from ulting away. So if he hits 6, ults out, Shyvana's just going to have to wave at him and watch him leave.
Shen.
But we are actually loading into the game. It's game 1 in the first best of 3 of the day. It's the grand finals of the amateur tournament here at Intel Extreme Masters Singapore. So it's been a while. I've been waiting, anticipating this moment. We're about to get the game underway as the players load on in. It's Cyber Games Arena Legends taking on Hong Kong Attitude, and both teams that are primarily from Hong Kong. I believe there's one player from Macau on Cyber Games Arena Legends, but it's just nice to see so much of Southeast Asia just being represented here today. And here we go, out onto the Rift with our first game in this grand final best of 3.
So perhaps starting off with 6 green wards. So giving up some of the extra sustain he could have gotten, some of the mana pot, one of the mana potions he could have picked up as well. So just looking for a ton of early map pressure with those wards, and potentially going to drop a ward at his red, and then look to roam and join his team at the opposing red, and could potentially see a steal come out, as these C teams seem to like to favor going for red steals and counteracting the other junglers on the respective other team.
All right, first damage done there to Pasa. Throws out a bouncing bomb or a water balloon, depending on what skin you're using. There's going to be the first ward, perhaps going to throw it down there. No kill on that ward. That's one of the dangerous things about warding right in front of a Shyvana, because if you do skill up Twin Bite very early on, you can auto attack and then get the 2 attacks afterwards and take out that ward. So not wanting to reveal what skill he's going for. Red didn't kill the ward off, knows it's there. We're going to see how things start out for level 1s without actually a lot of ward coverage going out. So with all those green wards, I would have expected to see a lot more of them out. Only 2 so far. Looking for another one on a deep red buff invade.
Yeah, and Engod did get spotted out there by Shaw, but Shaw needed a piercing light to the face and a couple auto attacks. We do have a lot of group around the opposing red buff here. 5 members going to be grouping up from both teams. But Pasa looking to go back to base and potentially run back to his lane. The Spiderling's going to chase him down. They're going to get out of there. And this is looking to be potentially a safe start for both sides, as HK Faye will grab up his blue buff, and red buff will be thrown over to Peace Might.
Now, something else to notice, there's no actual ward on the red buff, so while there's a ward at the entrance to that area, Hong Kong Attitude won't know exactly what to expect for right now. Peace Might is going to be taking that one out. Red is down here, not revealing his positioning just yet. You can see he's staying out of lane, and will actually be jungling for the first little bit of the game with Peace Might there for Cyber Games Arena Legends. And I really like that choice, because when you go into a 2v1, you get denied really, really heavily early on, and so you don't want to be denied quite that much. It does look like we are going to see a 1v1 bottom with the duo lanes up top, so a nice either guess or nice map vision giving Cyber Games Arena Legends the ability to switch up their lanes as well. Stun comes out there, a lot of damage traded on. Very aggressively positioning up there in the duo. Meanwhile, something else to talk about is going to be the mid lane as well. A very, very high harass lane for Pasa. You can see him just getting up that short infuse, harassing down.
Oh man, up top though, God Kawhi has been hit for a ton of damage. That Flay passive coming in from Thresh, they're doing a ton of damage, and God trying to hit him with piercing lights. There's another one right there, gonna chunk away a little bit of his HP. It's gonna force some pressure. He's gonna use the Relentless Pursuit to come in, as well as perhaps not being level 2 just yet, so no death sentence. It's gonna force them back, and this is not looking like a good position for CGA, and this could force some early pressure from Peace Might or an early back, which would put them at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah, Sean is actually almost halfway away from being level 2. God Kawhi as well, just now hitting that mark, but even still, that's going to be a big disadvantage, and something that Lucian Thresh does very well. He can push very hard early on, especially with that piercing light, get up a lot of harass down there. So Hong Kong Attitude off to a very strong top lane pressure. You did see a little bit of pressure around that middle lane. Peace Might getting in there, not able to do anything to Pasa just yet. Junglers have been jungling primarily for the majority of this early game, so no pressure just yet. But top lane, Kawhi has been able to lifesteal just a little bit. Sean finally level 2 as well, so probably should be seeing a very passive early start to the game, and we haven't even talked about bottom lane yet because it's
going to be the
island.
Island. It's going to be the lonely island down there, so they're just going to be farming back up. No jungle ganks till possibly level 6. Then they'll have to repel in and look for Cocoon, and same for Faye. He could look for the Assault and Battery into Wallbreaker combination, but still, the most of the action has been going on in this top lane. The poke is just coming in non-stop from Engod, that piercing light, and then even the Flay auto attacks from Perhaps, but just waiting for it to fully stack up, and they're just abusing Annie as well as abusing Ezreal. You see that right there, the piercing light goes through the minions. He farms it up perfectly fine with the Gunslinger passive, and now we're going to see a stun underneath the turret. There's going to be a ton of damage coming from Mystic Shot. Flash Repel comes in, Ignite is going to get dropped out. Cocoon connects! The Dark Pass is going to drag him out, but the Fireball doesn't connect. It's going to be first blood to Peace Might. Can they chase down Perhaps here? Incinerate connects out the auto attacks and the red buff for the slow. God Kawhi is going to come in. Cocoon is going to get flash away, death sentence, and turns away as they give up the chase and get the 1 kill, and CGA going to get that first blood.
And there you go, a nice Cocoon landed, and even that gank lasted long enough for the second Cocoon to come off cooldown and force another smite out there out of Perhaps. So a nice gank in there, kill, Summoner's blown, a big advantage already to Cyber Games Arena Legends.
Yeah, and that first blood gold going over to Elise in the jungle nets him the mobility boost, so he'll be able to roam around and get in there for the Cocoons much faster. While down bot, you see just the trades coming in, Wind being forced out of the lane there just a little bit, just having to use that Shadow Dash, and keeps himself safe.
And so at least for right now, we're finally going to see Perhaps head back to base. Engod coming in, and it's interesting to see the way that this game sort of fluctuates. Engod and Perhaps actually had a very dominant early game, but they played so aggressively for so long that eventually Peace Might made his way up there, wound up getting first blood for CGAL. So Hong Kong Attitude, they may be down a little bit early on, but keep in mind, it's not about the first 5, 6, 7 minutes of the game. We're still seeing a very extended laning phase. And in the mid lane, a lot of focus here. Fi waiting in the wings, sees Sean. Sean not going to face check just yet, but walks around there.
He actually missed the Vault Breaker there. Sean is going to be able to turn around and stun. He does not have Flash available. There's going to be initiation on the Pasta, though. He's going to try to Sassel Charge his way out. He's ignited, but falls in the air as 228 is going to be the target for Fi. He cannot 3v1 at this point. He'll get bursted out and forced to run away. Perhaps is coming in from the side, though. He's going to look for a death sentence. It looks like he's just going to soak up some of the XP and farm up a little bit and help keep Fi safe. But another kill to CGA as a really well-coordinated gank from Peace Might.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's going to be 2 kills over to Cyber Games Arena Legends. Bottom lane, it's actually going to be Taunt onto Red underneath the turret. A couple turret shots coming his way, so a nice trade off there. But I got to say, these ganks really working out in the North American scene, which is something I think we're both a little bit more familiar with. Elise is pick and ban every single game. over here, it seems like while it was a very high priority, Peace Might's really making it work. Death Sentence almost arcane shifted into, but nice dodge there by God Kwai.
Very, very nice dodge from him. And also the ward coverage coming out from that top lane already is proving to be really useful. They have that Tri-Brush warded. They even have the edge towards the entrance of the river warded. Now we're seeing potentially a nice push onto this turret. They could try to get some damage, but Sean showing up on that Annie has a stun prepped and will keep God Kwai safe and farming and happy. Speaking of farm, though, it's relatively close in this 2v2 matchup up top, but in the mid lane, actually, Pasa showing a very dominating lead against 228.
Yeah, he's up 15 CS here at 7 minutes, and while that's not a lot of CS, it is a lot for this particular time in the game. You can see that netting him the 1 Doran's Ring advantage, but a lot of consumables there for 228. Death Sentence landing on Sean top lane play as well.
Ooh, Piercing Light comes in, Gunslinger passive on a God Kwai. They're trying to split up the aggro. There is the Dark Passage, the shield up a little bit of damage. Perhaps is kind of 2v1ing at this point. Shed Ultimate comes in. He's level 6. He's going to get a double flay. Here comes the taunt. Sean is going to go down. That is going to be perhaps picking up the kill, and a nice Dan United in from Wind will help him get an assist and some extra gold and even up the gold tally, as we do see in the opposing jungle right now. Peace Might is potentially looking to stop Faye from getting his blue or giving it off to...
Oh, we're going to see a dive under the turret. Top lane, Ignite goes down. There is the dodge. There is barrier in time. Do not think, yeah, it's going to go down. And that's going to be a second kill there. Wind realizing he's not going to be able to make it down bottom fast enough, so goes for a second kill. It's stolen away. Peace Might gets the blue steal. Walks back out successfully. But at least for right now, you know, Red has been able to shove that bottom lane extremely hard. Should be able to get a lot of nice turret damage, but still, it's 2 kills fired right back. Hong Kong Attitude evening up the score.
Yeah, and with Peace Might taking out that blue buff away from Pasta, he's going to have a rough time in that lane, and he will be able to give 228 the blue buff that just spawned, unless he wants to take it for himself, which it looks like he's not going to take it for himself. He will just look to hand it on over and help him in the lane. There's going to be the bomb coming in from Pasta to scatter it out, but not enough damage to seal away. The barrel will come through, and 228 will snag that one up. So nice blue buff denied. There's going to be a ton underneath the turret. Red is going to eat a ton of damage from that one, but just be able to sustain up with that Vamp Scepter and Doran's Blade as well as the Twin Fangs. We have Sean roaming around though right now. Could potentially look to come down to that bot lane, stacking up the stun, does have it ready. We do see Pasa rotating down bot as well. He's doing the Wolves, but Red is going to be successfully held off by Winds, and just going to not see anything crazy go on just yet.
So nice to see the lane rotating. It's actually Sean and God Kwai coming bottom lane, who along with Red and probably Peace Might as well. Yeah, you can see him heading right towards that dragon. It is going to come out there. Stun on a win. There's going to be Shadow Dash backwards. Wow. Dragon's Descent on in.
Come on, as they chase this one down, it looks like the burnout is not going to be enough for them to keep this one down. True Shot Barrage comes through. It does connect. Wind is going to be able to sustain through that one. That turret is almost dead, so they could get one more auto attack on that. But Peace Might is getting dangerously low from this dragon. The Spider Lane is going to take some hits for him, but up top, HKA going to push down the tier 1 and grab themselves the first turret of the game. But the first dragon of the game going to go over to CGA, as looks like no one is going to look to contest this from the side of Hong Kong Attitude.
Now it's going to be first dragon very early on, but I love the decision by Hong Kong Attitude to just trade that for the top turret. Dragons respawn, turrets do not, and that is going to be a turret taken down already. And keep in mind, it is at the cost of the bottom turret, so trading 1 for 1 in turrets, but still the dragon, that will give, it gives the global objective win over to Hong Kong Attitude, but if you check out the gold count, still slightly in Cyber Game Arena's favor.
Yeah, and with Cyber Game Arena having that dragon, that's going to put them ahead just a little bit of gold. They can try to spend that one up. We do see Ginsu's Rage, Bilgewater Cutlass, excuse me. I don't know why I said Ginsu's Rage Blade, but a Bilgewater Cutlass completed up, so it's going to be that Blade of the Ring King Shyvana that we're so used to seeing coming in with a lot of chase potential and the slow on top of that. And still not picking up boots yet, so going to look to rush that item particularly fast.
And that's just because she's been in primarily a farm lane very early on, and hopefully to remain in that. That allows you to build a lot of aggressive itemization while you don't have to team fight, and then get your tank items in time for those big objectives. A lot of pushing into this middle lane, but just look at the Ziggs wave clear. Wow. CGA just can't even get near that turret, and didn't have God Kwai there to poke it down either.
No, and he's got the Tear and the Chalice of Harmony, so a ton of magic, ton of mana regeneration coming in from that, so he'll be able to spam for quite a long time and be happy. Up top though, Red is trying to push it onto Wind here, and gonna just farm it up as in the mid lane. Still, that push is coming in from CGA. They want to try to snag another tier 1 turret and try to get themselves that little turret advantage. Still, just going to be that island up top, and it looks like they're going to split up a little bit. They're going to send Peace Might to go to the bottom lane, and God Kwai is going to follow up.
All right, so it will be jungler versus AD carry, at least for the time being. Peacemind actually shouldn't show himself until perhaps and Godquai get into position.
Cocoon comes in, Spiderling comes across as well as a True Shot Barrage. It's going to be a shift in. The Mystic Shot doesn't connect, but the Repel over the wall, the Exhaust is going to delay the time the box connects. The Slow is coming out. The Taunt connects with the Death Sentence, and the Culling from the side delayed a little bit of extra damage. That was really well coordinated by HKA. They kept their support alive and picked up that kill on Peacemind, and still up top, Faye is going to hold off Red as he's doing a ton of damage with that excessive force, and the passive coming in, going to chunk away a little bit of that armor. He's going to chase down with a Vault Breaker, going to probably force out the Dragon's Descent. No, it doesn't look like he's going to, actually. It's going to be still the trade, and they're going to back off and just be on the merry way to continue to farm.
Now we did see kill almost taken away by the Culling in the bottom lane, but now Engod's actually going to move to that mid lane matchup with Sean and Godquai come bottom for a 2v1. That's actually going to mean that Engod's turning around. He's not going to go.
Actually, FaZe forced out the Dragon's Descent as well as the Mega Inferno Death Bomb coming in from Pasa, so that's going to be down. He's going to hit the Dragon's Breath. He's tanking the turret. He's got the burnout active. He's going to flash forward, get the auto attack, and get the kill. And that is going to be a nice little dive, as well as potentially a tier 1 turret in the top lane going to fall over to Red, and a really good 1v1 duel.
And that just shows the strength of Shyvana's Dragon's Descent, because without any tank items, diving turrets, before the 15-16 minute mark probably isn't the best idea, but you get so many extra tank stats from that Shyvana ultimate.
Death Sentence connects in the bot lane. A taunt comes in as well as a two-man play. That's going to be another kill going over to HKA and put a killing spree onto Wind on that Shen, and we haven't seen much of him, and he's doing a really good job on that champion.
It's like you said going into this game, Shen, a champion that's kind of fallen off with the strength of Renekton, Shyvana, Olaf, all very, very strong solo laners. Death Sentence will miss. Body slam in there. 228's got the explosive cast.
It's going to knock both of them into turret range, and actually Engod's going to take one turret shot. Getting ignited. Body slam picks up the kill. 228's going to chase down onto Perhaps now. Does not have flash. It looks like this is going to be perhaps a kill over to CJ, and who are they going to give it to? It looks like they're going to give it to Godquai. Split up the kills. One to the mid laner, one to the AD carry, and potentially now a blue steal away, as it is not going to fall into the Sasha. The flash comes in from Peacemind. The Cocoon connects on Apasa. Spiderling Neurotoxin comes in. He's going to drop the minefield, try to run away. Drops Ignite. A ton of damage. There's the Infuse. And can he get the bouncing bomb for the kill? It looks like no. Peacemind will be able to get out of there. And Pasa almost able to pick up the kill, as now actually Wind up top did force a runaway from Red, as well as uses flash to taunt and not connect. So they're going to disengage from that one, and a really good roam from 228 into that bot lane.
All right, so that's going to be two members CGA off the map for right now, and that gives a big power play opportunity to HK. The only problem is they're coming back from base 2, so probably not going to see anything just yet. But with Dragon coming up in about a minute and a half, and a lot of pink ward coverage of that area, Cybergamers, they took Dragon number 1. We'll have to see if they can take number 2 as well.
Yeah, spawning in a minute. We'll see. As Blaze Rinky has been completed by Red, so he is that 1v1 dueling monster, and we will see what they can do with that one as they do push down this mid lane with the 4 members of this side of HKA.
And it does look like Pasa in the mid lane, he's been able to just wave clear that out extremely, extremely well. So something to notice is that as he continues to do that, it's really disallowing Cybergames Arena Legends the opportunity to keep pushing up that lane. You can see they have 4 champions right there. They're trying to push it up, but it's just not actually doing anything. So will this be the push that they're looking for? Side lane's not really that too eventful, but now it's up to that mid lane. Is this push going to work out? We even saw Explosive Cast. CGA, they want to be able to catch out somebody from behind the turret. They just haven't been able to get that lane pushing in just yet.
Peacemind's going to come behind the turret, and God's going to spot out. They have a pink ward there. They're looking to try to clear out that green ward in some safety. The 4-man push is coming in. The Culling's going to be used to clear out the rest of the wave there. Godquai eats a little bit of damage, keeps those ranged minions safe. The barrels are coming in non-stop from 228 right now. Red is still dueling Wind up top there. Sunfire Cape helping him sustain the 3 kills as well, helping him get the Sunfire Cape really early on. We do see as HK holding on to this tier 1 turret in the mid lane and dropping more wards. Sean is waiting on the side though, has the anti-stun ready, has Tibbers, and Flash is almost up in a couple more seconds. But Dragon is now currently live. Peacemind is going in with Godquai, and it looks like they might be able to snatch this one up for free.
And there you go, 2 for 2 Dragons there. It's going to be Tibbers and the Cocoon landing on the 5.
Yeah, he'll be able to walk out, though. They'll disengage from that one. They just wanted the Dragon and nothing else. Now Red, though, getting some free auto attacks up in this top lane. The taunt did not connect from Wind. There, he's going to pop the burnout, just chunk away a little bit of damage there with the Twin Fangs as well. And just now with 2 dragons under the belt, CGA got a little bit of a nice gold lead.
Mr. Tibber is going to make his way into the mid lane, fighting off Engad, and perhaps Tibbers, please. No, Tibbers not going to stay alive very long, but it's going to be 3-on-1 for the time being. Red buff will be given over to Peace Might, so actually choosing to strengthen up their jungler instead of giving that away to God Kwai, who's just been kind of free farming down there in the bottom lane. Both AD carries, a lot of CS, but still very far behind the mid laners. And if you're talking about CS, you got to talk about Pasa. This guy is up at 160 CS at 17 minutes. Wow. Incredible farming there. And it just goes to show you the pressure that's been on mid. He's just been mid lane wave clearing over and over, like you just saw, taking Wraith Camp, taking Wolves over and over again. He's 40 C up on his lane opponent, but keep in mind, 228 is 2-0 off of a nice roam bottom lane.
Yeah, and those kills are going to help keep him in very well. And both of them now with the Themes of Holy Grails, the spam coming in from the mana regeneration, they're going to have the cooldown reduction is going to help him out quite a lot. Wind still farming up top, though. He has fallen at 45 CS behind. Peace Might waiting in the bot lane for Engad to maybe overextend there. We do have perhaps heading down as well. We see Sean with an Oracles running around trying to clear out wards and keep that dragon area clear. We do see Faye with the Assault and Battery available to himself. He has his own Oracles and is looking to control their blue side as they look to spot out some wards from Sean, but he hasn't made his way up there just yet.
That's actually something we've seen here out of Southeast Asian teams that isn't really prevalent in a lot of other metas, especially on the 3.13 patch. Junglers don't usually get that early Oracles. Bottom lane, though.
Perhaps is getting initiated on here. The exhaust comes in as well as Tibbers to pick up the kill on perhaps before Shen can even make his way in. Actually, the Dragon's Descent was popped to interrupt that one. The culling coming in from Engad. Not going to be able to pick up a kill. He's going to clear out the wave a little bit. Sean leading the charge, has the stun ready. Faye is going to be able to use that Vault Breaker to get over the wall. And that is going to be the end of that fight, but they do pick off a nice kill on perhaps who was not expecting 3 members to just jump on him right there from CGA.
All right, so now Sean will be able to drop a ward here, but Faye right there to clear it out. Drops one in response. Oracle's there from Sean to secure that vision of the area. Mid lane, it's just wave clear on wave clear. Pasa is not going to let any minions get near that turret. Is keeping up with an incredible CS score, now 193 in 18.5 minutes.
Yeah, Wind is doing a good job of holding off Red up here, but he's going to sustain off those golems just fine. We're going to see them fight for that one as the golem will go over to Wind, so he wins that battle over Red. We do see Faye winning on the side, though. No Dragon's Descent available, but will they chase this one down is the real question. He's going to use that burnout kit out of there just fine, while the 3 members of CGA back off from bot lane and look to go mid, but that Ziggs is just not going to let them push. Faye coming in as well. Red spots him out and is going to look to chase this one out. Perhaps gets caught out there by Cocoon as well as True Shot Barrage, and Sean picks up another kill on that Annie, just showing the bloodthirstiness that is his support. And Ziggs tries to throw out a little bit of a water balloon to help them out, but is not able to.
And while the damage came out from God Kwai, there's going to be even the Ziggs ultimate just ulting that wave. The mid lane, can it creep? Will come in there. Is there enough damage to take it out? The answer is yes, diving through the turret.
Sean comes in, explosive, casts all the damage. He flashes to the wall. Relentless Pursuit is not enough. He cannot pick up a kill either. Peace Might picks it up with that Venomous Bite and a nice dive, nice coordination cover for CGA, and they will snag up another kill. They keep catching out members of HK, and the positioning from CGA is just so phenomenal.
But they keep having to dive the turret, having to set up picks in the jungle because they just can't push these lanes. It's been 2-1 for the last 10 minutes. Top lane Wind will get taken out by Red, just diving through there. Catch him out in the jungle, and then the attempt at shadow dashing away didn't really work out as Red was able to counter that, get a lot more damage down with Blade of the Ruined King first. It's a very aggressive build. You really need to get nice one-on-one kills, and that's exactly what Red has been doing. Coming into this game, we talked about what a dominant force he's been allowing CGA to come back against Detonation, and looks like he's back to his old shenanigans, now 2-0-0.
Yeah, and we'll just see him keep on split pushing through. It's kind of reminiscent of Golden's, how he would just sit in that lane with the Zac and just farm up a storm. And then when he joins his team, they win the fight. And it was fun, a really good play from him. Unfortunately, they still lost. But we're going to see Engad now lane swap, try to stop Red from taking up this golem, which he cannot. Faye coming in with a red buff, going to decide not to use anything on that one. Descent is coming across in that mid-brush. Doesn't connect there, as Sean will be able to use the anti-range and oracles to clear out some more wards, as he's trying to establish control around this Baron pit now, but will be backing out as he's pretty scared of perhaps. And Faye, did he actually refresh that Oracle's there? Is that the one he's still been using? Actually, it's the one he's still been using.
Peace Might drops a very deep ward coverage, almost behind second tier bottom lane turret. Now Wind is there to defend the push in from God Kwai. who does not have any ability power. It's a Trinity Force this time, so no more AP Ezreals in our games just yet. There's going to be a lot of pressure. Now bottom lane, as I'm pretty sure Cyber Games Arena has figured out they can't really push through Pasa.
230 CS at 21 minutes. He's farming way, way above average. And we're going to see this tier 1 turret finally go down, though, as Red will man up and tank it, as we do see a Dark Passage to get Faye out of there. Doesn't want to get caught out. The bouncing bombs, the Ardent Blaze as well coming out to poke. The Dragon spawning in 10 seconds. So with that, CGA are going to look to try to secure their 3rd Dragon of the game, or HK might try to steal this one away or contest it.
So for CGA, they've taken the first 2 Dragons, looking to make that a perfect 3-4-3, 22 minutes in. They are in perfect position. They got a lot of ward coverage as well. And now for Hong Kong Attitude, you can't kill the Lantern, Sean. He really wanted to. He's like, how can they see without having a ward? But wasn't able to take it down. Not quite the same case for Peace Might, who will take down the 3rd Dragon of the game for Cyber Games Arena.
Yeah, and that's going to net them a lot of gold. And at this point, having this much of a gold lead is proving to be really difficult to deal with, because now 228 almost has a death cap. We're going to see, I think, a Last Whisper for God Kwai as his 2nd item, as that seems to be the standard build with the Trinity Force first. Maybe a Bloodthirst, you never know. Could just sit on the pickaxe for a while, but we'll see. 5-man group coming in from HKA now. They're feeling strong. They want to try to push this turret down. Faye is going to take up a little bit, but they'll back off, as the barrels from Gragas are going to stop them from pushing, and Pasta's going to be like, well, is this what it feels like to not be able to push?
The problem for Hong Kong Attitude is that their plan, you could tell what it was, is, hey, we're going to be able to defend turrets, a lot of wave clear, a lot of individual lane strength, but the problem is that, at least in that last turret that went down, Red just can walk up, tank the turret, and has enough damage from the rest of his team to be able to poke it out. So if your plan is wave clearing, but your opponents can just tank up the turrets against you, that's probably not going to work out. So for Hong Kong Attitude, they need to make sure that they have enough players at the objectives to defend them, so that Cyber Games Arena can't just walk up to the turret, tank it down, take it out there.
Red was waiting on the side, though. Paso is not going to go any further than that one. Just satchel charges himself out of there. And another Oracle's coming in from the side of HK. Perhaps has this one. He's looking to clear out any other vision that Sean has placed. Sean with another Oracle's in his own inventory, so going to look to establish some more control on the side of HK jungle. We do see not too much team fighting coming in from either side right now. They're just kind of looking for picks on the side of CGA, and HK are just looking to try to farm back into this game a little bit.
Exactly. It's 24 minutes into the game, but it feels like about 35 just because there's been so much just aggregate wave clearing, mid lane especially, as you can see Pasa up to 263 CS on Ziggs at the 24-minute mark. So that's going to be a lot of gold in his pocket. In fact, if you check the gold count, he's up at 8,000 gold. And while 210 CS may not be as impressive, it's almost a full 1,000 gold advantage for his lane opponent in 228.
He also has almost a fully stacked Seraph's Archangel Staff into Seraph's Embrace soon, so about 30 more mana for that one, and he'll have that one completed at 24 minutes. We do see Red still applying that pressure down bot. The culling was used to help clear out some of the wave there. A ton of damage applied to the turret, but they will back off. They're going to wait for the next wave, and this one could actually fall over very easily with the 4 members of CGA grouping. Wind has Stand United available, but Red does have the Dragon's Descent. He's going to actually get ignited underneath the turret right there. He will be able to back out. He will get the turret, though, for his team, and now a nice 7.5k gold lead down bot. Though the pressure is still being applied. Pasa, though, on that Ziggs, able to wave clear like a monster, keep farming right on up. Ardent Blaze, the mines, the satchel, bouncing bombs galore. They just can't push on Pasa.
Yeah, pushing against Hong Kong Attitude, nigh impossible, but can't count out Red, because he top lane, or mid lane, now top lane as well. He's just tanked up the turret long enough to be able to get enough damage to take it out. Now looking to take away a red buff as well. He's really forcing a Hong Kong Attitude, drawing them away from their lanes. Red buff will get taken away there by Faye, but Assault and Battery on a Red.
They're going to chase this one down. Flash comes in from Wind. He doesn't have Shadow's dash up just yet. They're going to flash away as well from the Vault Breaker. The Burnout going to be able to get him out of there. Dragon's Descent keeping him safe. And now he will go back into the lane and just go right on back to farming.
228 and the rest of Cyber Games Arena in the bottom jungle of Hong Kong Attitude. When you take down the side turrets, there's only that secondary mid turret left alive. But for Cyber Games Arena, I don't feel like they should, just push down the mid lane, try to take that out, just given the way the Pasa has been wave clearing. Something that's actually been working very well for CGA is pushing down the side lanes and just catching HK out of position, not allowing them to set up all the wave clear that has been so effective at keeping them in the game.
Yeah, and Pasta still with a huge amount of farm, still down at 0-1 though. Hasn't found a kill for himself, hasn't found a way to get even near CJ to try to just abuse the bouncing bomb damage coming in. We're going to see a Death Sentence come blatantly across from Perhaps as the ward did get killed out. A nice pink ward control coming in from CGA with Sean just using the massive amount of ward dropping ability that you have in 3.13, which does disappear in 3.14. So we are going to look to see as he just keeps dropping pink wards and keeps applying that Baron pressure.
Top lane is going to be Win versus 228. I don't think Win's really going to want that matchup, so heading back to base. Doesn't have anything yet to buy. True Shot Barrage catches on to Faye, and Engod will just push them back a little bit more. We're setting a message before he gets on back to base. Last Whisper, Trinity Force, and now I guess it's the making of a Bloodthirster coming out. Could be an Ezreal. Yeah, definitely could be an Infinity Edge. We are at that stage of the game where you can pretty much build whatever you want. You don't necessarily need the Bloodthirster for laning. But the only problem if you do go for a Bloodthirster now is how do you get that stacked up? And the answer is probably pretty easily with the way this game is going. Just a lot of wave clear on wave clear. Yeah. The only problem is that while Pasa's been able to do a really good job at that, you can just see the gold continuing to come in there for CGA. One of the things making that happen has not only been their ability to take down 4 extra turrets, but controlling the dragon objectives as well. Yeah, and a taunt underneath turret though for Red nets him a little bit of damage from that turret. But now the 3-man Baron is being initiated here from CGA as they are going to look to take this one down as fast as possible. Solo body damage is huge. The barrels coming in as well. Ezreal going to give everybody Essence Flux and help them take that one out. Perhaps, and Faye looking to come over right now. Ballbreaker is charged up and ready. Can they actually look to attempt to steal this Baron? It's going to go down, and it will be Peace by picking it up, but there is a Lucian ultimate coming across. True Shot Barrage as well. The Shed ultimate is initiated onto the Faye, but it's not enough as CGL Godquiet will pick up the kill. A flash over the wall from Engod. He pops the barrier a little late there, trying to chase out the Sean. Ardent Blaze cannot pick it up while a flash is forced out in the mid lane. The flash over the wall from 228. The barrel's not enough to get the kill, but Sean picks it up as now Perhaps is going to look to be their target as the blue buff Gragas is something you cannot run away from. But the box and the barrel are not enough as 228 says you are not getting away. A stun on the Pasa. They're chasing out him. The satchel charge will bounce away a little bit, but the barrel coming out and the turnaround from 228 will net himself a double kill, and now a Baron up CGA looking to push down possibly an inhibitor turret or just a tier 2. 4 for 0, and while it looked kind of bad for Sean, he was able to turn the kill right back around onto Engod. We talked about how huge his Lucian has been for Hong Kong Attitude before, but in that fight just got completely turned around. 0-4 on a champion that's been such a huge point of strength for Hong Kong Attitude. Wait, he's going to be caught out by the Cocoon. There's the Venomous Bite coming in. They're chasing this one down. The Explosive Cask for the kill from 228. Nets himself unstoppable. 5-0-4. The inhibitor does fall. A 14,000 gold lead for the side of CGA. Hong Kong Attitude have a lot of work to do to come back into this. Yeah, it's not just if you pick up the kill, it's how you do it. And 228 really sending a message there in style, taking out Win, who as the tankiest member of the team, I really feel shouldn't be getting blown up by a single rotation, a combo there from 228, who's just incredibly strong. 5-0-4. Looking for a Void Staff next, and if with all that magic resistance, you're still unable to prevent yourself from getting blown up by Gragas. Once he picks up that Void Staff that he now has in his inventory, even picks up another needlessly large rod as well. This is getting a little silly in that mid lane. 228, just an absolute monster. I wonder if he's going to go for DFG or for Zhonya's Hourglass. I feel like it's going to be Zhonya's Hourglass, so you just do some of that barrel rolling into body slam and just turn gold in the middle of that one. But Red still, that solo menace up top, 258 CS, and Blade of the Rune King Randuin's done. I might be going for a Sunfire Cape. He could just go for a GA and look to be an unstoppable killing force. And just the side of HK still trying to farm up and now trying to hold off these empowered minions at the side lanes and then the super minion in the mid lane. Blue buff will be stolen away, probably given over there to 228. So I'm pretty sure out damages Smite at this point. If it were 3.14, then it definitely would. Gragas checking the bush is not going to be overconfident and allow a Bush of Death to be set up just yet, but I'm pretty sure CGA know exactly where HK are going to be for the next however long, and just going to be a base defense for them. All outer turrets have been taken down, and now it's CGA looking to push in on to the base. They have a 4-1 split push set up. Oh my goodness, Explosive Cask over the wall. Hits Faye, but perhaps taken way below half hit points. Yeah, there's going to be Assault and Battery, though, initiating onto Ezreal. They cannot get it as 228's damage is just phenomenal coming in, picking up the kill. Perhaps is going to try to run away, but the Ziggs Bomb sniping off Sean. The barrel coming in from 228 picks up the kill as Perhaps falls to, as it sees Red just diving in the back, picking up a killing spree, taking down Perhaps. The inhibitor turret falls. The inhibitor is most likely to follow, but can they pick up Peace Smite is the question. A Body Slam will keep him alive, as well as a Flash. He
sitting in the back. Godquai goes on a killing spree, picks up the kill on Pasa. That's going to be an ace, as well as now 228 sniping up the last kill on Wind. And this is looking like it's going to be game 1 for CGA over Hong Kong Attitude.
Well, yeah, raising their champ dots there at the very end as CGA will pick up game number 1 in this grand final best of 3 for the amateur tournament here at Intel Extreme Masters Singapore.
Yeah, that was a really impressive showing, and these teams have gone back and forth in online tournaments like we said before, and CGA just coming out stronger this time.
Yeah, you can see a big smile on 228's face. He knows he did a fair modicum of damage during that game, so really, really impressive. Nice to see them actually winning the first game that they play against their new opponents here in Hong Kong Attitude, a team that actually felt had a little bit of an advantage coming into this best of 3. CGA, man, you just cannot count those guys out.
Yeah, we'll see if Hong Kong Attitude learn from this one, come into the second game looking strong. Their team comp was looking really good, but the Shyvana split push coming in from Red, he's a split pushing monster. He apparently just loves to be on that island and like 1v1 me, try to 1v1 me and see if you can take me down, especially with Shyvana showing that Shen a thing or two.
And then, yeah, it didn't really work out too well for Wind. He picked up kills in other lanes, able to use that Stand United to get where he was supposed to be, but really couldn't find kills in his own lane. And once Gragas got huge, he didn't have enough magic resistance in time to tank that up, and will give the win over to Cyber Games Arena Legends. And going into game number 2, I mean, HKA's got a few things on their plate to look out for. They thought they had the mid lane matchup just off of sheer wave clear, but with Red getting extremely big, he just walked up to the turret, tanked it out, and going into game 2, we're going to have to watch out for not only the mid lane matchup, but top lane as well, as just putting Red on an island. It's proven to be a little bit less effective of a strategy.
He'll farm on Shyvana, he'll farm on Renekton. If they ban out Shyvana, Renekton, he'll farm on Chen. I don't know.
I guess so.
I wonder to see how big his champion pool is if they ban out those two main top lane bruisers for him. But HKA now have a lot of work to do to come back 2 games if they can.
All right, and so that is going to do it for our first game in this grand final best of 3. But don't go anywhere. I believe we will be heading on to our second game as soon as we can get both teams set up and ready to go. This is the Intel Extreme Masters Singapore. We're here in Season 7, and it's been an exciting day to bring to you some great games, even more coming up, so stick around, stay tuned. We'll be right back with game number 2 in the Amateur Tournament Grand Finals here at Intel Extreme Masters Singapore.